What's up, girl? Okay, so I'm so excited, you guys. Amanda and I don't really even know how we met, but we met. We're in a chat together, which has been awesome. For some girls who are pushing for ambassador, and about half of us have gone, which is pretty cool. But this just the chat has been super inspirational, and I've gotten to know her through there, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she was telling her ambassador story for how she promoted. I'm super excited for you guys to hear that tonight. But Amanda, if you can just introduce yourself and kind of how you got started, and where you were before it worked.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, awesome. I just want to give you guys all a heads up that I have my two little ones. My husband's out of town right now, so if I get interrupted, then I'm giving you guys a fair warning. So, so thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm super excited to chat with you guys, and I hope that I can bring some value to you guys and give you guys some good nuggets. I started this business, so I've been in it for 5 years, and I started this business just it just kind of fell into my lap. And I know I'm sure you guys have heard that before, but it really, really did. I didn't even know that you can make money doing something like this. I started this, and on my Facebook, you guys, I literally had like around 200 friends on my Facebook. Like, I wasn't really big into social media that much. I worked full time as a dental hygienist, and at the time, we had one little boy, Jax, and he was 2 years old. And so a little bit about what our life looked like before I got started with this is we were struggling kind of like in this hamster wheel, like financially. Like, we made good money, but we had tons and tons of debt. I myself had $100,000 in student loans, and then just on top of that, we collected credit card debt, and we put our wedding on like credit card. Like, it was just, we collected so much debt. And so even though we made a great amount of money, I was dental hygienist, my husband's commercial real estate, just getting into his career, we had just so much debt. So it didn't matter how much we made. It's like we couldn't get ahead. And so on top of that, I had like major mom guilt. Like, I dreaded going to work, even though like I loved dental hygiene. Like, it was my passion, like just something that I thought I was always going to love to do. Except when I had this little guy, God definitely placed a different feeling in my heart, and I wanted nothing more than to just spend time with him. And it was hard because I did work. Some nights I worked 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And that's a whole day long going without seeing your little guy. And so I really had a hard time going with that. But I just kept, just doing it because I felt like there was no other option until this business came. And so when my friend came over and she was like, hey, just started this business to make some extra money, you should do it with me. And as soon as she said like make extra money, I was like, okay, well, tell me what you're doing, because I would love to make some extra money. Like, even if it was like $200 just to go to Target and, not feel guilty about buying something, or have some fun money, or put that money towards student loans, or, not have to just be so crunched every single month. And so, I got started, and I had no idea what I was doing, you guys. I am a little bit more, this business has definitely opened me up, but back then I was kept to myself. I had like 4 girlfriends from high school that we still kept in touch with, 200 friends on Facebook. Like, my family is all full of men. Just, I have 4 brothers. And so I didn't know a lot of people, but I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can just to make a couple $100 extra a month. And so I got in, and I had that vision of just making that amount. And I went to my first event. It was like a room full of like 15 people. It was a very small local event here. And my friend just like, she was like, here, come with me. And I was like, okay. And so I went to this event, and I walked in there just not even knowing what it was about. And I literally went into this business blindly, you guys. And so when I left that event, I was like, holy smokes, like, why am I selling myself short for only wanting $200 in this business? I'm seeing moms like come home to their babies. Like, I'm seeing moms pay off their student loans or pay off debt, like make thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars every single month. Like, why am I selling myself short for this? And so I left that event thinking, I don't want $200 extra a month. I want to get myself to double diamond, because that's about how much money I'm bringing in now as a dental hygienist. And that could bring me home to my babies. Like, that could literally bring me home. And so I didn't really know, like, when my friend signed me up, she doesn't do this anymore. We didn't really have, it was just her and I kind of bouncing each other. We didn't really have somebody to like lead and guide us and anything like that. And so we got in and we literally learned everything off of YouTube. We found like top leaders who were just rocking it and just mimicked everything that they were doing and just copied them. And a lot of stuff was so out of my comfort zone, but I was like, I don't care, because I had that vision of coming home and being a stay-at-home mom, and I didn't care what it took. And so I got in and I just, I did everything that everyone was saying to do, all those top leaders, what they were saying to do. And within about 4.5 months, 3 months I promoted to diamond, and then 2 months later I promoted to double diamond. So 5 months being in this business, I went double diamond, and I was making the same amount as I was as a dental hygienist. And so that was like my golden ticket to come home to my babies. And so I actually got pregnant and I went down just 1 day a week. So going from full time, only working 1 day a week until we had our second son. And then I retired, and after we had him, and I've been retired now for 4 years. And we paid off every single penny of my $120,000 of student loans, all of our credit card debt, cash for our pool. We're doing the second division of our pool, paying cash for. And along all that, after we went double diamond and triple diamond, I sat at triple for quite a while, because I don't know, what ranks you guys are, but if you guys have ever felt like complacent, like I was at triple and I was complacent. I was just like, this is awesome money. I was getting paid, like as a triple, I was making pretty much presidential pay. I got paid really, as a high triple. And I just got like comfortable. And so I sat at triple for quite a while, about 1.5 years, almost 2 years actually. And then something like sparked in me. I was like, I'm just so comfortable. And I saw my team was so comfortable. And I was like, okay, we're not going anywhere. Like, I don't see hunger. I just see people who are just comfortable. And I was like, this isn't okay for me. Like, God didn't put me in this position just to stay comfortable. He didn't put me in this position just to make, this $16,000 paycheck and just be comfortable with it. Like, I'm in a position where, like, I know I can do so much better. And so something just sparked in me. And it was like December-ish. And then come May, I went presidential. And then just this past March, ambassador. And my husband is my biggest leg, and he's my presidential leg.
I love that. I had no idea. Our stories are so similar. Besides, like, I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I was like, I'd be a part-time mom.
Yeah.
No, but it's funny because I think that, you hear about people get complacent, and I'd been on Zooms before where people were like, I got complacent. And I was like, I'll never do that. Like, I'll never get complacent. And then you start seeing, I had $17,000 triple diamond paycheck, and I sat at triple for 1.5 years. And you just don't really realize you're doing it. And I think that that's like the biggest thing is I think one of the things that every top leader has is really high self-awareness and understanding now where we are, because we've been through so many stages, right? Like, I catch myself so much quicker now than I used to. Like, it used to take a lot longer for that. So I love your story. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, from the outside looking in at your life, 5 years ago, did it look like you guys needed money?
It didn't, like, because we didn't really, like, we were fine as far as like what, like we could pay all of our bills. We weren't struggling, but we weren't where we wanted to be. Meaning, like, we had all this debt. Like, we wanted to have that that freedom of feeling, we wanted to be able to travel wherever we wanted to, or have a savings. Like, that's the thing. We didn't have a savings at all, because like I said, like, even if we did have a savings, that next month it would probably go towards, like, because we might have been short that month because of all the debt we had, or we might be able to pay off a little bit of debt, but then that next month we were a little bit short. So then we racked back our credit cards, So as far as like it looking like we were set financially, probably we had, our house is nice. It's the same house we live in now, except we just didn't have that freedom of, of being debt free. And, and now we literally have no debt except our house. So now we're trying to pay off our house now. And so,
and I think it's just important to point that out, because I think so often, we look at somebody and we're like, oh, she's a dental hygienist and he's in commercial real estate. The last thing they need is a business like this.
Yeah.
And we prejudge them and make excuses for them before they even can make an excuse for themselves. But here you were really praying for an opportunity that had she not come and talked to you about, like, you would have never even known this existed. And so I think it's important for you guys all to kind of take note of that and recognize, like, you never know what goes on behind like closed doors. And not that you guys were even trying to keep it a secret, but it's just so easy to assume, right? It's
Right.
so easy to assume, based on the labels that we put on people. So I love that. Okay, so you went diamond really quickly and then double diamond. What would you say, you really had to learn during that time? Like, did you feel like there were any aha moments going from, to go diamond and then to go double that you feel like, okay, this is really important that people who are pushing for diamond, pushing for double need to know?
Yeah, so I say like I went pretty quickly, and so I felt like I went like that ignorance was on fire. Like I didn't know like the details of it. All I know is I needed to get these many customers, these many distributors, and I was just on fire. I've never in my entire business been given one customer or one distributor. I built pretty much myself to diamond, and then I had, a runner, help get to that emerald. My husband's always been my biggest leg. And so I think that the biggest thing that I would say, and actually I lost my double because of this, is probably because I was so focused on me getting there. I was so focused on like myself and not my team. Not, okay, where is this going to bring our team? Because I didn't know anything about leadership. I didn't know anything about, my team or how I should treat them or how to lead them or anything. All I knew is that, okay, somebody said to get customers. Okay, I'm going to go get customers. Somebody said to go get distributors. Okay, I'm going to go get distributors. And so I held on to my diamond or my double for a while, for probably 3 or 4 months. And then just slowly it started just trickling away because I lost my emerald. And then I lost, I just kept losing because I was in like that management mode. I wasn't in that leadership mode. I didn't even know, like I said, to lead. And so my biggest thing is right off the bat, like, how do you want to treat your team? How do you want, hold on, what, honey? Good night, baby, I love you. How do you want to lead your team? How do you want them to work, their business? And so I think that leadership. And then the other thing I would say, if I wish I would have known this from the very beginning, I think I would have been ambassador like in no time, but it was mindset. I didn't even know about self-development or practice self-development probably about 2 years into my business. And that mindset in self-development and, I truly, truly believe it's 90% of this business, 10% is at work, or, I just think it's just such a huge part. And so if I would have put that mindset like right from the beginning and self-development right from the beginning, I think that, so many things would have changed. Like maybe I wouldn't have lost my double, or maybe I would have got to triple faster, or, presidential. But the self-development I think is so key. And that's one thing I wish I would have like applied sooner, it would have been that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So when you were going, to those ranks, and I think one thing that I hear a lot of is like, there's dead legs, there's people who aren't working. But one thing for people who go really fast is they don't even pay attention. Honestly, like
Yeah.
I know for me when I was going diamond, like, I mean, I'm sure I was like, gosh, I would be so much easier if these people were working, but like, it really was just like, okay, I need to fill that box. So did you kind of have, what was your mindset when it came to, oh, well, there's this Ruby not working, I'm waiting for this person to work? Or were you just moving ahead?
I was just moving ahead. I didn't wait for anybody because I wanted it so bad and I wanted it as quick as possible. And so I had a lot of people who weren't working. And so I would just fill them, or I would just do the work to get it done. And so I had that mindset that, and I think it was probably another leader probably mentioned this. And so it probably just stuck in my mind that if you want that promotion, then yes, you have a team to help carry along, and you have a team, it's a team effort kind of thing. But if you want that promotion, you have to have the mindset that you're going to fill all that volume, that you're going to fill all those distributors. And if somebody else on your team gets it, that's just icing on the cake. And so I've had that mindset ever since for every single promotion that, okay, I want presidential. Okay, who are my key players? I obviously am going to carry them, they're going to be, right here along with me. But if I want this presidential, if a ruby drops off, I'm just going to have to build another ruby, or I'm going to have to figure out how to fill that volume. It was always me. Okay, I need to do this because this is my promotion. But then, you collectively you have a team, right? And so collectively a team's going to help. But I always thought, okay, that's just icing on the cake. And so, people did drop off. The people, when I went triple, I have one diamond who's still that triple, for that triple, but my other 2 diamonds dropped off. Like, they're not even in this business anymore. But it never stopped me, because I'm like, okay, they don't want that. That's totally fine. It's not going to keep me from my, from my goals. It's not going to keep me from my wants or my purpose of this business. And so I would just think, okay, who can I find? Who can I rise up to be this diamond? And I just kept going and just kept building people who wanted to do it. And if somebody didn't, I never got angry about it. I never got upset about it. I was just like, okay, if they want to come back, that they can totally come back, but I'm going to keep going because this is my business. And if I want it to work, it's going to be up to me. Like, nobody's going to save me. Nobody's going to come in here and do this business for me. Like, I knew right off the bat when I joined this business and my enroll or quit, like, no one would ever give me a customer. No one would ever give me a distributor and help me rise up. Nobody needed me to be a diamond for them, or a double or a triple or a presidential for them. Nobody needed me because all the other uplines, they're set. And so, so I knew if I was going to do it, it was just going to be up to me, and whether people would quit or not.
I love that. And I think that so many times, like, even team pages and opportunity events and, the customer page and all this stuff, it's like we have so many resources now that people can just take for granted. And it's not, it's just understanding that, like, those are all additional tools.
Yeah.
Like, that help you get there. But at the end of the day, like you said, nobody's coming to save you. Like, this is your business. This is something, that runs. Now, what did you do to kind of help yourself get through those times when people did leave your business? I'm sure it was not easy, especially when you were losing double. Like, what did you do to kind of get yourself back on the horse, so to speak? Because, we all have those valleys that we get in sometimes. And it's just kind of like, how do you pull yourself out of those? How have you kind of dealt with that?
Yeah, and I think that there's obviously we all have, different seasons in our business, and there's going to be boulders thrown at you. And I definitely remember, and it is so vividly, when I lost my double, and I remember I was struggling, like, I went back to diamond, but my diamond was still so solid. I mean, I lost my double, but I was still probably getting like a $3,000 paycheck in. Which is still, not as much as I was as a dental hygienist, but we were still okay. And so I remember in the car with my husband, and I was just so frustrated. I'm like, I'm working so hard. Like, I'm doing everything. Like, I'm getting enrollments, but my business just isn't growing. I can't seem to get past, like, get this double back. Like, I just had a really negative, like, nasty attitude. And I remember my husband looked at me and he was like, so quit. And I was like, I was like so like upset, and he like totally he was like, well, quit. He knew I would never quit, but he was like, he's like, and I'm like, why would I quit? I'm like, this is bringing us income and I can stay home. And he was like, well, why are you complaining about it? He's like, why are you, he just totally called me out. He was like, well, why are you complaining about something that's giving you income? Like, take that and, figure out what you need to do to get to that next level. But the thing you have to change first is your attitude. And so I was like, well, shoot, he just totally called me out. So after that, I never complained about my business again. And anytime I felt like I was like, oh man, like frustrated or like this stinks or whatever, I just thought, you know what? I'm so lucky that I get to do this. Like, we're so blessed that we get to make money from our phone, whether sometimes our paycheck might drop, but sometimes it's going to increase. And it truthfully really is up to us and what we put into it and what we want to get out of it. And so after that, like, I was just like, okay, I'm obviously, I don't have the option to go back to dental hygiene, like, because for me, it's not possible. It's not going to happen. Like, I could, but I'm like, I'm never going to go back to dental hygiene. So I have to make this work. And so if I want to make this work, first, I'm just going to have to start by changing my complete attitude about why I'm not where I want to be. And so I think, making sure that you're surrounded by people who are going to tell you that when you are like, down, or when you're like frustrated or something, to just suck it up. you know, honestly, just like suck it up, because you need those people to kind of get in your head and be like, listen, like if you want this, like it's going to be up to you. So you kind of have to suck it up. But, you know, of course, if you need them to say it in a nice way, they say it in a nice way. But my husband is very like, I'm a red and yellow. So I sometimes just need people to be like, Amanda, like stop acting like this and suck it up. And so as soon as he did, I was just so forever thankful. And whenever something gets thrown at me, because I will tell you with every single promotion I have had, like as you guys have probably had, if not, you probably will, but I have had boulders thrown at me. And so it then just comes to your mindset. And I say those 5 people who you are with. Are you with people who are negative? And if I was with somebody and I was complaining, they're like, yeah, you should just quit, I probably would have quit. You know what I mean? But I was with somebody who was part of my 5 the 5 people that like uplift me the most. And he was able to say like, listen, if you want this, then you got to do it, you know? And so really those 5 people I think are so huge. And then just that mindset. And then like, again, why? Right? Because I went back to thinking, okay, it's this, or I go back to work, and I'm not going back to work. So why do I want this? Why does it need to work? It's for my children. So again, your why has to be so, so strong.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes it's like, you know, we sometimes don't know. I mean, immediately when I joined, like I didn't know what, like really what I wanted, but I knew that I didn't want the life that I had. And so I think sometimes it's like, you might not know exactly what you want, but knowing what you don't want is also really crucial, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you can definitely like, you might not know like what your dream house is going to look like, or you might not even be able to visualize like paying off all your debt yet, but you might know that right now your current situation is so bad that you have to get out of it and have somewhere else that you're going. And it could just be one stoplight ahead if that's all you can see, but it has to be just a step. And so I think that that's another thing. And then also just like you said, like, hey, what's your alternative?
Yeah.
Like, okay, quit. And then what? Like, what are you going back to? The life that you wanted to get away from in the first place. And so, you know, I think that that's so crucial and huge to understand. And one thing that I was thinking about on my drive yesterday, I went to stop by my kids to get a McDonald's, and the service was so bad. Okay. It was so bad, like so slow. The lady was so grouchy. Like I asked for freaking honey mustard, and it was like, I asked her to just tear down the whole restaurant. Okay. She acted like it was like the biggest deal. Right. And I was thinking like, you can be McDonald's or you can be Chick-fil-A, because they're still serving food, both of them, but the attitude in which they do it is so different. And Chick-fil-A just attracts you back, right? Like you just want to go back. People are so nice. They're so friendly. The service is so awesome. And so my question to everybody on here is, which service are you providing? Like, are people seeing your posts and saying, oh, well, she just had a post, so she just threw that up. I was definitely copied and pasted, you know, whatever. Or are they seeing your post saying like, dang, she's really excited about this. Like she knows what she wants, you know, she's going after it. And this is something that's truly her passion. So like, you just like, are you McDonald's or are you Chick-fil-A? Like you have to get real with yourself, because I think it's so easy to fall into those, pity parties and feel like you're like the victim or all these things are happening to you. But just really understanding like that is part of it. That's what's going to make your story awesome. I remember thinking so many times when people would quit, as I was like, I can't wait to talk about this on stage. Like that was something that like I had always like told myself, as I just visualized like all the struggles, that like that was something that I was going to talk about on stage when I, you know, would go. It was never a matter of like, oh, that one person is going to stop me. Like I'm not giving that person enough space in my head to even have that thought. But I am going to say like, dang, that's what I can talk about when I go on stage. Okay. So we know you pulled in a ton of volume for your ambassador promotion. Kind of go over what you guys did, and just the whole month, like how you were feeling. I always say, I think there's this like point from like the 10th to the 20th where people are like, oh crap, can this really happen? Like, it's like this mindset block where you're just like, and I call it like the mid-month, like questioning phase of really testing your belief. So
Mhm.
just kind of walk us through the whole month, or a couple months that all that volume was pulled in, and kind of what you did to stay strong.
Yeah. So, I mean, since December, I think it was December, we made our dream boards. And on December, I was like, okay, March 30th is when we're going ambassador. I didn't put the 31st. I put the 30th. I'm like, March 30th, we are going ambassador. I want to go a day early before the month end. That way I can, tie up any loose ends or whatever it is. So it was everywhere. I plastered it everywhere in our house. It was on like our little light, like, I don't know, like sign or whatever, just all in my office, just sticky notes everywhere. Like my kids knew, like we made it so prominent, like team knew, like my kiddos knew. And so we already had it set, the date of when we were going ambassador, and we were far, you guys. I wasn't even, my husband wasn't, or my biggest leg wasn't even presidential yet. And so, which is my husband. And so, so we just had that set, and we were just working and just pushing it. And then February came, and my husband was he's my presidential, and then still, March was our date to go ambassador. And so when they changed the charting, I was like, holy smokes. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'll go February. I don't know. But when I got home and like did our charting, I was still pretty far from ambassador. And so I was like, okay, I'm still far from getting my husband to presidential, but we're going to get my husband to presidential this month, because then I can just focus on ambassador.
Give us some numbers. Cause I think
Okay.
you have people who are like, I'm 2,000 volume away. Like,
Okay.
like give us some numbers for what pretty far is.
Yeah. So in January, we ended, I can't remember my exact numbers, but in January, my volume ended at like 125. So after, you have to go to 250. Okay. So it ended at like 120 something. My husband's triple, he was triple at the time. So his triple was like, I want to say like in the 70s. So around 70. So in February, we needed to get 100,000 for him to go presidential, right? And he ended January at 70,000. So that means we had to get 30,000 BB in just his leg alone, just a presidential leg alone, in February. And February is a shorter month. And so anyways, we were just like, okay, we're going to push it after conference. This is going to happen. And so we just worked and we pushed it, and I kept visioning it. And then again, the 25th came, and I want to say he was just his leg alone. It ended he was at 84,000. So we still needed to wait. Is it 80? Yeah, 84,000. So we needed to bring in because he needed 18,000. So it was like 82,000. So we needed to bring in 18,000 just on his leg alone. The triple was only like 2,000 away, and my other two diamonds, they were set. So, or the double was set, and then the diamond was set. So 18,000 we needed, and in 3 days, you guys, because they ended on the 28th, right? So in 3 days. And so what I did is on that leg, that leg is just kind of organically happening. Like it always kind of organically happened. And so I have really awesome leaders on that leg. But what I did is where I needed volume at and group volume, I took every single key player, whether they were ruby, emerald, or diamond, whatever they were going for, and I put them in a group chat. And I just said like, okay, guys, this is what I'm going for. Like, I'm trying to get Derek to presidential this month. And like, I want to know what your goals are. Cause I'm going to pray over you. And I want all of us to work together so that we all get these goals this month. And I was like, I can't do this without you guys. Like I was very honest and vulnerable with them. But we got in a group chat, and I asked them if I can go into their diamond group chats, because I have some, diamonds that are not my personally enrolled, and they have their own group chats. And I just said, hey, can I go into your group chat, and I'm going to do an exclusive, team contest just with me and your guys' group chat for, 2 days or 24 hours or whatever it was. And so I did, and that just like pumped people up. So we did a lot of contests. We just worked so close together. And within, on that 28th, we promoted, and it was like in the afternoon. And so we didn't buy out anything, and we pulled in that. And actually my entire team pulled in, so my other legs, so collectively we ended the month at 198. And remember, we ended the previous month at, so almost 200,000. We ended February, and previously we had I think it was probably closer to that 130. So I can't really remember exactly how much it was, but we pulled in a lot of money in that, or a lot of volume in that February. And then, so we ended that month, at 198. And so I'm like, okay, we're still going ambassador in March. We're still doing this. Like, my husband said, he's good. That will organically just maintain because I have awesome key players. I actually had 2 people promote to triple on that leg. And so, so we're like, we can do this. We have all month to pull in 50,000 volume. And so in this month, you guys, Amigo and Ambassador, we had a trip planned to Hawaii that we planned 6 months ahead. And so we were gone for a week in Hawaii with my son's, he was out of school for that week. And so if any of you guys know, or if any of you guys are in Hawaii, for me, it was a 3-hour difference, and then East Coast was 6-hour difference. So I was like, how the heck am I going to work? A lot of my team are East Coast or Central, so they're 5-6 hours difference than me. Like, how do we do our team Zooms? Like, how is this going to work? And I'm gone literally 7 days. And so that was a struggle. But the thing is that you just figure it out. And you figure out, okay, I'm going to ambassador this month. So any little bump that comes my way, you figure it out. So some of the days I had to kind of sit back, get my work done while everyone went to the pool. Or I woke up at 5 o'clock every morning and went to bed at 12 o'clock or midnight, even on our vacation. And so I just made sure I was getting stuff done. I did feel a little disconnected just because I was so far away, but we were still bringing in volume, and every single day our volume was increasing 30,000, 35,000. So compared to the month before. So I'm like, okay, we're sitting so good. But then that doubt kept kind of creeping in a little bit. And I'm like, I see all these other, all of my other friends who are pushing for ambassador this month, and they're literally, at home, not leaving their home, pushing for ambassador. And I'm freaking on the beach pushing for ambassador. And I'm like, so I kept questioning myself, and I'm like, is this my time? Am I deserving of this? Because I felt like I should be at home, not leaving my house, and literally not showering for 30 days. But instead I'm in Hawaii on the beach. And so my husband, again, he goes, Amanda, he's like, it's not this month that's taking you to ambassador. It's all of your previous months that you worked. It's all of what you did in February and January and December. He was like, that is what's leading you up to ambassador this month. And so again, I just got back into my mindset, and I just said, okay, I can do this. And so, I got the flu, you guys. I was sick, my kiddos got the flu. We just had crazy month, on the 25th, but my volume was still skyrocketing. Each day it was ahead, that 35,000. And so on the 25th, I'm like, okay, perfect. If my numbers are correct, I'm going to be sitting at about 230-ish, around 230,000 BV. The 25th came, you guys, and I was at 206. And that was after everything went through on the 25th, everything was processed. And I was like, this can't be right. How is it only 206? This can't be right. My EC is broken. And so I had a panic attack. I think I threw up a little bit. I was just oh my gosh, how am I gonna, we have 6 days left of this month. How am I gonna bring in 46 or 44,000 BV? And all of my legs are set. My presidential was already, my husband was already presidential. My triple just went triple that day. My other triple was only 2,000 away from getting triple. So I was all of my legs are pretty much set. So I'm like, how in the world, everyone's already got their promotions, nobody's going to be pushing anymore. And so, again, my husband, he came home with this tracker. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But he literally just every day, he made it where we had a goal to get a certain amount of BV. And so that evening, after everything was updated and it was still at 206, I went live with my team, and they all knew. So remember, for months and months, they knew that March we're going ambassador. Our team is going ambassador. And it wasn't me. It wasn't oh, Amanda's going ambassador. It was our team is getting to ambassador. So what does that mean? Every single person on this team is going to rank up. And so I went live and I was just so vulnerable. And I was like, you guys, I know that we have been pushing so hard for this promotion and we are at 206. That means that we need to bring in collectively 44,000 BV. And I like let him know. And I just said, you know, God gave us this vision to do it this month. Like, I know we can do it this month. Like, if it wasn't possible, I would not like be saying, hey, let's do this. And I was just so just vulnerable with them. Like, we were crying, like we prayed together, like we all got on a Zoom, like all of my key players, and we just like thought of like ways to come up with volume. And so a lot of my people, my triple who just promoted, she was like, I'm still pushing, like I'm pushing until that you're like, until that E-suite says ambassador. Like, everyone was so involved because it was, again, their promotion too. It wasn't just my promotion. And so every day we pushed, and our goal was to get 10,000 BV every single day. Every single day we came shy of that. And I think we ended that night on the 25th at 208. And then the next day we were supposed to, I should have brought my chart, but the next day we were supposed to be at like 225, 220 or something like that. We were short of that. We were at like 216. And so I would go live like every single, like a couple times a day, and just pump everyone up and just get everyone excited. And, you know, even though I was like throwing up inside and like shaking and like my stomach hurt, I was so like, and I was so positive with my team, and I just let them know like, oh my gosh, you guys, we just brought in 5,000 volume. Like, we still need 7,000 for, you know, this, like the rest of this day, like, let's do this. And I would give them tips. And every time I went live, I would just give tips. And my lives, you guys, typically, like when I do go live on my team, there might be 20 people jump on. Every single live I was on multiple times a day, there was like 50 people on. People were pumped, and they would message me and be like, hey, when are you going to do the update? Like, where are we at? You know? And so it was just, the energy was just amazing. And I had a lot of doubt, but then I just ended up like, you know, after that second day, I had my 5 people. Again, I had my husband, I had a couple other people where I could go to. They were my safe zone, where I could go to when I felt like I was like, the walls were closing in on me. I could go to them and they can say, Amanda, you got this. Like, get back to work, get out of your head. You can do this. And so anytime they would say, I can do this, I was like, okay, I got this. And so I had my 5 people who could literally just be there every step of the way when I needed them. If I could call them, you know, one of my girls, she's one of my best friends. She's my triple. I would call her, and she just knew I would call her just to cry, you know, because I'd be so like just overwhelmed, or just like, man, my volume's not creeping up. And so, and then I just, on top of that, I just left it up to God. And I just said, like, Lord, I know like this vision has been placed on our heart for a reason, like March 30th. Now we're shooting for March 31st. And so, you know, I know that this is put on our, you know, in our eyes and in our vision for a reason. But if this is not my month, because I don't want to push it either. I don't want to like force the promotion. So I'm like, if this is not our month, like, please just like, you know, let me know. Like, if this is not our month, but until then, I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to do whatever I can. And our team is going to, and I'm going to be the best leader I can be for my team. And so, I did. And so I went to bed, you know, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 4 or 5 o'clock every single morning. My team did too. We would get on a Zoom, we would pray together, we would go live, you know, we were just so, it was just like this fine tune, like, you know, machine going. And so, anyways, we just kept going. And then, we had a Friday, and it had declines in our volume. So every day we were bringing in about 6,000 to 8,000 volume, which we needed to bring in like 10. And then Friday had a decline come, and we brought in like, I think it was like 14,000 volume. And that kind of like brought us up a little bit. And then it just, everything just like, people kept, I had people who went to Emerald, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I can go Diamond now. So they double promoted to Diamond. I had rubies go to, a couple of rubies go to Diamond. I had Emeralds go to Diamond, or brand new people go to rubies. Like, people were so pumped. And because they thought, okay, if we can bring in 44,000 volume, I can bring in 2,000. No problem. You know, if we can bring in 44,000, I can bring in, you know, 500, you know, whereas I think a lot of times they're like, oh my gosh, I have 500 volume. Like, what am I going to do? You know, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I can do this in a second, you know? And so, I think the belief it brought was just amazing. And I kept praying. I said, like, Lord, like, I just want to do this so I can show people it's possible. Like, I didn't even care about the money. I didn't even care about, I mean, obviously I wanted it, but like, I just wanted to show like my team that it's possible, because I knew that if we could conquer this, that they literally will now be set to know that they can conquer any promotion coming forward. And so we actually promoted to ambassador. Oh, and at the time, you guys, just back up a little bit. I'm a huge believer in getting your ranks and like going all the way. And if you have to buy a little bit, okay. But I am like, okay, I want this rank, and I don't want to have to buy a penny into it. And so, but at the time, I was like, hey, if I have to put in 5,000 BB or 3,000 BB, whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it, because I'm this close, you know? And so March 30th, we promoted to ambassador. So it wasn't the 31st. It was March 30th, which we had everywhere in our house. Our team knew it was March 30th. We promoted March 30th, and we didn't spend a penny. We didn't buy one product for this promotion, and neither did my team. So it was God. It was God literally like walking us, and like, you know, I keep getting goosebumps, because it literally was just God doing the work and saying, you can do this. And if you put in this work, if you put in this effort, like, I can see this, and I'm going to bless you with this. I'm going to bless you with this promotion, and we're going to bless your team with this promotion. And so it was literally, you know, that mindset, and then tapped on with a lot of work.
I got goosebumps like 6 times during that whole story. I've never heard like the full story. So that is amazing. I think there's a couple things that I wanted to touch on that you said, and just kind of dig deeper. I love the last thing that the goosebumps too. I love the thing that you said at the end, you know, like, he's not gonna just bless the work, right? People always say like, okay, you have to put some steps behind the prayer, but it also goes the opposite way. You have to put the prayer behind the steps. Like, you can't have one without the other, right? You can't just work without the prayer, and you can't just pray without the work. Like, they have to go in conjunction. And your heart has to be right, you know? And every single time that uncertainty crept in, I'm reading the leadership, and he talks about this, and he talks about if there's no uncertainty, there's no reason for a leader, because everybody knows where they're going. But if there's uncertainty, that's when a leader is going to step in and rise up, right? The uncertainty is what creates the job security for the leader. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And that's really what you did. It's like in that uncertainty, and even though you had some uncertainty, you still had that faith, right? And there was fear. And it's not that, you know, as ambassadors or people who have been in the business for X number of years, it's like, we're not immune to that. We're not immune to the doubt. We're not immune to the tough things that get thrown our way, to the challenges, to the obstacles. In fact, they pretty much get bigger, right? But at the end of the day, it's just choosing and making that decision for faith over fear, right? And choosing faith every single time. It doesn't mean that the fear doesn't exist. It just means that your faith just has to get bigger. And that's really what forces it to get bigger. Because if we didn't have those challenges or those tough times, like, we wouldn't need that faith. There would be no space for it to grow. And so I love that. So when you were, you know, kind of mid-month, and the other thing I wanted to touch on is that almost like self-sabotaging that you did, right? Like when you were on your vacation, cause I had that very similarly. I mean, I remember I was watching like This Is Us with my husband, cause I'm really big on boundaries and like making it time for my husband and all that stuff. And I just remember like God telling me, you know, if this promotion gets your house out of order, it's not time for you to promote. And it doesn't mean that I wasn't waking up earlier. It doesn't mean that I wasn't, you know, pushing in harder, but it's very important that you guys know that every promotion doesn't have to be you sitting at your house not showering. And that's where God can step in. But if you don't give him any space to work, then you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out. So what you have to do is you have to have a healthy vision for. It doesn't mean you dumb down your dreams. It doesn't mean that you stop working hard. It just means that it's okay. You want to work harder than you ever have, but you don't want to forget that this is something that he can bless. And it doesn't have to be like so exhausting. It's should be more emotionally exhausting from the ups and the downs of just like, God is so good. God, what are you doing? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of that, but like just trust and believe, you guys, that the promotion month, like I read this today, you have 9 promotions in this business. If you promote 9 times, that's 9 months where you're pushing. 9 sets of 30 days, which doesn't seem that much in the grand scheme of things. And so just know that it's important to have that trust, and that's really walking out your faith. And so don't feel ashamed if you feel like, gosh, I need to go to bed and it's midnight. Go to bed, wake up refreshed in the morning. Don't feel like, oh, well, I don't deserve it. That's not for you to decide. That's not for you to decide. Your job is to keep putting one foot in front of the other, carry the belief, carry the faith with you on your back, and recognize that, like, listen, when I was going ambassador, me and my husband had I was messaging and stuff during it, but we watched This Is Us, like almost like probably like 6 or 7 episodes. Okay. And I remember thinking, gosh, like God can pull this off. And it wasn't anything other than knowing that like I needed that time with him, even if it was just watching a show. So that's super important. And something I wanted to bring up is that self-shame and that self-sabotage, almost, where we're putting these expectations where we have to be working 24/7. And if we're not working 24/7, then we don't deserve to promote. Stop acting like you're God and that you need to play God for who deserves what and who doesn't, because it's not up to you, it's up to him. So you just have to keep praying and keep knowing that every single day your job is to show up. That's it. I forgot there was maybe something.
I think just to like say too, like I think the reason like it was so, because I was like, man, I'm watching all these other people promote, and like on our like little chat that we have, that we're a part of, other people were going ambassador, and I was seeing them. And so I think like it was so like what I had to do, honestly, is I had to have that tunnel vision at that point, because I was feeling guilty, because I was seeing other people like being like, I'm just eating like cat food right now because I can't go to the grocery store. I mean, not that, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, I haven't showered for 10 days and I'm like at the beach. And so I think that like, because I was like comparing myself to other people, it literally made me like do like that self-sabotage kind of thing. And so I had to have at that point that tunnel vision, and I had to, I actually had to remove myself from that group or like quiet it out for my last like week or a couple times throughout the month, because I was comparing myself so much. Or there would be people who had tons and tons of volume, or they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm like almost to ambassador, but I'm so stressed because I have 2,000 volume. I'm like, I freaking have 44,000 volume, And so it literally, it's so easy to put do that comparison. And so any promotion, like I would say, like, or at any time, like put your blinders on, like, and like Kelsey said, like you have to trust that you have to trust that God is going to guide you and lead you and take you to, where you want to go. And, I think that's a sure way that like, I think it just sets people back so much, is just comparing and, getting into that comparison game of, well, she's doing this, so I should be doing this too. And that's just not how it works.
Yeah. And not everybody's journey is the same. And that's the beauty of it all. And that's the beauty of this business, is that, your journey should not look the same as Amanda's. You might have done the same exact thing that she did with the markers and the thing. And it might not have worked, you guys, because what works for one person isn't going to work for the other, but it has to come from you, and it has to come, just so authentically, and you really digging down in that place. And, I was reading Can't Hurt Me, and it just stuck with me all the times he said, like, you have to be uncommon among uncommon people. And, what I prayed for is that my promotion every month, every day for my promotion, I prayed that my promotion is not stressful, that it happens organically, that yes, I am working and I'm pushing and I am, doing things that, were out of the box, but I wasn't feeling like I had to stress myself out so much. And it doesn't mean there aren't times of that, you guys. You're going to have times of that. Okay. That's just the nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, you just have to recognize that like, this is not about whether you deserve it or not. It's whether or not you are showing up every single day, because there's no really like recipe for success in life except for you showing up every single day being better than you were yesterday. That's it. That's it. Compete with yourself. Be better. Be 1% better today than you were yesterday. Be 1% better tomorrow than you were today. And that's it. And if you keep doing that in this business and you put your blinders on, like you said, Amanda, like everything will go where you need it to go. But we get so caught up looking left and looking right. Let me ask you this. How are your enrollments during the February and March?
So I've always been like a high enroller, I guess. And so I think in February and March, I both brought in probably over 100. Actually, February, I think I brought in like 120 customers. March, I brought in probably around 100. Distributor wise, it was like the $20 kits or $49 kits. And so my distributors was probably at least 20 distributors each month. And so I mean, I've always been a high enroller, and you don't have to be a high enroller to promote. I just want to say that, but I mean, I think it did help keep up that momentum and everything. But I think that it was mostly, it wasn't even the enrollments coming in, because my work didn't change. Like my work, I may have like worked harder or longer, I would say, but my work didn't change. Like I just did those four, core 4 things that we do every single day, that you guys do every single day. I just did that repetitively, and I kept going until I got like my results that I wanted that day. And so I would have a goal to bring in a certain amount of BB every day. But like Kelsey said, like if there was times like I was so exhausted, I'm like, I literally am doing myself no good, I would go to bed, and then I'd wake up like better, refreshed. And so my enrollments were high and I pushed it, but I knew like in order to make that happen, I knew coming into that month that I needed to get high enrollments. I knew that I needed to get volume. And so I just, that was my intention coming in. And then the other thing I really set, like, going into this, like we kind of talked about, like you can have your goals, but then I feel like you really have to know, like, why do you want those goals? Like, not only like, why do you want it, but what is that going to look like for you? Like, what is that going to feel like for you? Like, what is that going to do for you? And so for me, like, it really wasn't like now my vision is it's different because of where I'm at in my business. But it wasn't about me getting that money. It wasn't about me getting that $25,000 like paycheck. It was about me promoting to ambassador and showing my team that they can do this. It was like me showing like other people that they can do this. And so that was really what I was praying about, and like saying like, okay, Lord, like I'm ready for this because I want my team to go here. I want my team to see this. And so I was really praying for, telling God like why I wanted this and why I was ready to do this and how I was ready to be like, an ambassador leader. And so anyway, I don't even know, I got off track, but my enrollments were, they were high, but again, they weren't any more like, they weren't crazy higher than they normally are, because I'm just a higher enroller.
Yeah. So real quick, run through kind of what you do every single day, what brings you the most volume, like super quick. I mean, and I would like to hear like specific numbers too, like how many messages you think you send, how many host to post you get up, like what helped you bring in volume towards the end of the month?
So I am so big into, I'm not even agreeing, you guys, but I have this down to a science, because I've been doing probably for, I think the last year and a half, I have every single month, I bring in no less than 70 customers and no less than 10 distributors. And because I have it down to a science of, okay, I need to send out every day, I send out messages to, and this may sound high, but it's because I know I can get these high enrollments. So this is what I do every month. And so I do send out 100 messages to get host to post out. So I send out about 100 messages every day, not all at once. And it doesn't take me very long at all, because I just copy and paste them. But that gives me about 10 people to host a post for me every single day. It gets 10% back in return, give or take. And so, but then I don't really stop there. I go based upon those 10 host a post. I see, okay, how many people can I put on my list for new potentials every day? That's what I want. I can get out 10 host a post, but if they're not going to give me potentials, it does me no good, right? So I go based upon how many people can I get on my list every single day. I want to get at least 10 new potential distributors and at least 20 new potential customers. And so I'll go until I do that. So I message about 100 people, and then I get, like I said, an average of 100 to, I think, 126 was my highest amount that I've gotten, which was when I went presidential, or when my husband went presidential. And then what was the other question?
Just like, so like, do you get people from like people that come to you from your stories, from your
Okay.
post or anything like that? So I know your core four posting, messaging, following up, adding to your network,
Yeah.
and then obviously self-development on top of that. But
Yeah.
are your 100 messages, somebody just asked, are your 100 messages a day like all for people, asking people to host a post for you?
Mm-hmm. So I get all of my distributors, you guys, from my post, going live, my stories, asking. So I don't message for distributors. It just doesn't, like, because I get my distributors other places. I save all of my messages just for host to post. So that's what I do. I send my 100 messages for host to post, follow-ups, like that kind of thing. So that's where I get all of my customers. Host to post, follow-ups. I do one product post a day, and then I do product posts in my stories. And then all of my other posts are opportunity posts. They're lifestyle posts. And so that's where I get my distributors from. I average about 10 distributors, because that's how I can handle 10 distributors. Any more than that, that's where people kind of fall through the cracks. And so every month, that's just my goal, 10 distributors. And I get them all through posting, stories. I do get a lot of them. I ask a lot of my distributors I ask a lot of customers to become distributors. I ask a lot of people who host a post to become distributors. I ask a lot of potential customers to be distributors. So one thing I love to do is every time, before you sign up a customer, like when you get their information, I will just say, hey, before I get you set up, do you want, would you be interested in making some extra money too? Or are you just looking to use the products? And that kind of give me a gauge of, okay, this person is interested. So, I'll give them the opportunity. Or sometimes they're like, no, I just want the products. But I have a lot of people who are potential customers who turn into distributors. A lot of my distributors are from customers.
I love that. I love that. That is so good. Okay. Do you have any last minute things that you want to share? Just for people maybe who are pushing for promotions this month? That it feels far away. It feels like, oh Lord, like I thought I'd be closer to this. I thought there was going to be more movement. And it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I think how many days do we have? We have 10 days left, after today. So I think you have to figure out, like, what do you want out of this month? So maybe this month went a little bit slower for you at the beginning, but we have 10 days left. In 10 days, like, a lot can happen in that 10 days. So you have to make the decision tonight, like before you go to bed, how do I want to end my month this month? How do I want to end May? Do I want to get my promotion, or do I just keep, kind of doing what I'm doing, and then I hit it hard the next month? You have to decide, because, regardless, I would say end these 10 days as strong as possible. Go as hard as you can these 10 days, because that's going to set you up so nicely for the next month. But if you're going for this promotion, you have 10 days. So you have to decide now, and you just have to say, okay, I'm getting this promotion every single day. This is what I'm going to do. Like, write a list of the things that you're going to do. And if you're going for like diamond or above, or if you're going for a certain promotion, I always tell my team, I'm like, you need to work 2 times or 3 times harder than you typically would. And when I say that, I don't mean that you don't have to shower or like anything like that. I mean that you just have to kind of increase your activity. So increase the amount of people you're sending a host to post to, increase the amount of posts that you're doing, go live. Like, you have to put that effort into it. And I promise you, like, God will bless your efforts. And so, but you have to decide in your mind. And so, write out, and I always say, like, write out what, like, obviously you want diamond, right? So why do you want it? Like, what is that going to look like for you when that hits your bank account? What is that going to look like when your name says, diamond or double diamond or triple diamond? Like, what is that going to feel like? And then you tell God, like, why do you want it? Like, I want it because of this. Like, you have to know why you want it. If you don't know why you want it, you're not going to get it. You have to know why you want it and how important it is for you. And that's probably my biggest tip is, like, if you don't know why you want it, then how on earth are you going to even get it? And so, and then also just keep those blinders on, like, stay focused. These 10 days, a lot can happen, but you have to stay focused. You have to stay on that every single day. And sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep or a little bit of time, but that sacrifice in these 10 days are going to be such an amazing investment, like what you're going to get out of it. So, That's my biggest thing, is like, know what you're wanting, like, know how you're going to end this month, and then don't give yourself an option not to.
I love that. I feel like Superwoman. I feel like hopefully everyone else feels like Superwoman right now, that they could get off and go promote tonight. But seriously, thank you so, so much. We're honored that
You're
you spent the
welcome.
night with us. So
Thanks for having
thank you
me.
guys for hopping on, and I'll go let you be, say goodnight with your boys. So I appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye, Amanda.